So here we go, first race at Grand Oak Raceway. You get a decent start. Starts are pretty easy in Forza. Just lay on the gas, wait for the lights to go out. We keep our position here just behind Drixter. For whatever reason, himself and Faye Fox stick to the inside of the corner here. And actually get quite a nice switchback. Was not expecting that at all, really. And onto the inside of Faye Fox here, but we don't do anything too heroic. A little bit of contact there mid-corner, so we just decide to lay off a little bit, let him through, and we can always battle further into the race. Keeping an eye on P3 there. Just looking at where he is, but he's more concerned with the car behind him. Gallagher's actually battling him quite close, so it looks like it's going to be a two-car battle out in front here. So trying to keep pressure on Faye Fox, see if I can help him in making any sort of mistakes so we can get through. Onto the inside here on the last corner. Quite a cool corner and very easy to carry a lot of speed through. And obviously very important coming on to the main straight. Keeping that minimum speed up and getting a good run here, but we're not quite on the inside of him here, so we lay off just a little bit, let him through, and just decide to stay as close as we can into T1, which is most likely the most optimal option in terms of overtaking here. Really fast track, fast flowing corners, minimum speed is quite high, so it's really hard to overtake here too. And I find with T1 and T2 really cool corners. It takes a lot of confidence to go through them though. As we were going through practice quali and of course the race as well, I found that more and more it did it, just the faster in general I was going through those corners, whereas at first I was braking quite heavily going into them. But if you do have confidence in the car, you can carry quite a lot of speed there. So a little bit of a gap forming initially, but we're right on the back of Faye Fox now again. That last corner, second last corner, never took quite that well. We were always taking that corner a little bit better than him. Coming onto the main straight here again, just trying to keep as close as we can. I think he was laying off the gas just a little bit coming into this last slight bend here, as you can see here as we begin to catch up. So I think he was letting off the gas, which you don't need to do. You can take that flat, so I don't really know why he was doing that. Maybe lack of confidence in the car. Onto the outside here, T1. He keeps it in nice and tidy. I was expecting from the start maybe to get a little bit of a switch back here by keeping it to the outside, but didn't quite work in our favour this time. He keeps the lead, he keeps ahead, so we need to fight another day. We need to keep pressure on him and see if we can get through somehow. So now coming back towards the end of lap 3, we're right on the back of him again, coming on to the start-finish straight. He's holding his position well, good defending. Nothing really I can do but sneak to the inside here. He actually gives us a little bit of space. We do have some speed on him, so pulling up alongside of him here, just keeping an eye on him. Looking at this now, I actually forgot to turn on the proximity indicators, which would help quite a bit in terms of racing closely with cars, although I don't like the proximity indicators that much in Forza in comparison to at least something that you'd get in maybe Asetek Corsa Competizione, like the radar. It's a little bit more accurate or easy to use, but we do get through on the inside T1, so we now have the lead, and it's now up to us to pull a little bit of a gap on Faye Fox, see if we can get ahead. But of course, because you're watching this video and because I've put this video up on YouTube, probably tells you that this is not the end of our race. It does continue to get a little bit more interesting past this point. So skipping forward to the end of lap 6, so 2 to go, not long, and Faye Fox is right on us. He's pulled back the gap. I don't think it was the tyres at this point, so I'm on a medium tyres, and I have just about enough fuel to finish the 8 laps of the race. And we're pretty much the same as Faye Fox. I'm pretty sure checking before the race he had the same amount of fuel. So I don't think it's a case of struggling with tyres here, but for whatever reason, we just began to struggle just a little bit here. With a best time though of just over 58 seconds. So our lap times have come down quite significantly on this track by lapping it during the race. So Faye Fox to the outside. I don't really know why I went defensive on the inside of these two corners. Just as you can see now, he has the outside line leading into the next sharp right-hander with a heavier braking zone, so he's always going to get that. We let him have it, we don't fight too much. Our plan is to basically come back at a better part of the circuit and try to get back that position. But those T1 and 2, in my experience, is actually better to hold the line around the outside where you can carry more speed, because, well, you don't have to brake much in those corners. As I said previously, if you have the confidence in the car, you can really carry a lot of speed through there. So we get a good exit here from the last corner. We're right on the back of him again. We can't really chance coming down to the inside of this fast left-hander. That's just going to end in disaster for both of us. So we let off a little bit and we try just gain momentum as we go down to start-finish here. Now I'm thinking go to the outside, but he does squeeze us a little bit here. This curb is dangerous if you start to brake on it, very easy to lose control of the back of the car, and doing that into these corners you're going to lose a lot of time. So we lay off just a little bit, try to keep it conservative, stay as close as we can, and think coming up towards the end of the last lap we could possibly do something. Cutting across the grass here even, I actually think that's probably the most optimal line across that corner. You can see how much we've gained here. So I decided not to do anything to the inside here, stick it to the outside. We would have got a shot here if I had controlled the car better. You can see there I had to get on the brakes quite significantly actually to avoid him. I think he messed up that corner too. So we were unlucky there, we would have actually had the lead, but you'll see here now in a moment, coming onto this last corner, where he's been a little bit slow before. What I didn't expect was for to leave the slightest of gaps. You can see here now, I see it, I eye it up, I go straight for it. Now we're on the inside, he's bumping alongside of us to try slow us down, but we got this in the bag. Photo finish, I was absolutely delighted with that. As you can see a smile on my face there. We won by like 1,000 of a second, so a great race overall, and a really good introduction to Forza Online. So another race I think we had that was quite noticeable was at Laguna Seca. So this was actually just the second race we've done in online multiplayer as well, and coming off of our win in Grand Oak, we were full of confidence, qualified P2. I really like this version of Laguna Seca. Apparently it's close to the very original layout of the track. I actually thought it was just made up by Forza, but apparently not. But it's awesome, it's super cool, especially in these cars. I'm not quite sure how it would be in a faster class, I suppose, or something that didn't handle as well as these Hondas, but I do like the layout. So on the outside here, coming up to the corkscrew, you can see here we got a fairly good run on him, but not really we can do. We're conservative on the brakes. Let him to the inside. Again, much like the last race, we're trying to be, at least at the start, to be a little conservative. I want good results here. I want to race fairly, cleanly, and just enjoy myself here. I'm not going to push too hard to dive up the inside of any corner. I'm going to carry the minimum speed through here. So the last corner, this guy, I'm not even going to try pronounce his name, Crazy. I'll call him Crazy 86. He always took this horribly. Always went in deep, but he always seemed to also manage to get a run back on us. So you can see here we're both neck and neck down the finish straight, and as deep as he went into the corner, he's actually made that speed back. So he's right on us as we're going into this fast left-hander here, T1. Get on the brakes the tiniest little bit. You can carry a lot of speed through here. The only risk, of course, is going into the barrier on the right-hand side. If you carry too much speed, your race is pretty much over. And well, you'll see what happens a little bit later in this race, because spoiler alert, we kind of do that. Well, I wasn't expecting him to come up the inside here. Maybe that's why his name is Crazy 86, but I don't know whether I just braked early or he braked incredibly late, but obviously he took that corner way better than we did. So fair play, got the position fair and square. Didn't really force us out. He was just carrying a lot more speed through, so he was inevitably going to push to the outside. So we got squeezed a little bit, but we're still on track. It's all good. We're right alongside of him here now again, keeping the pressure on, and expecting him, as before, to make that same mistake coming into the last corner here, which I'm sure he does. And this lap as well, unnecessarily defensive. See how tight he is into that last corner. So again, we're running neck and neck here, down to T1, utilizing the speed on this straight, trying to get ahead. The last thing you want to do is go side by side into that T1. It's just not sufficient space. So even though it is an addition to Laguna Seca, it's a lot narrower. As you can see, there's barely enough room for two cars, or what seems barely enough room for two cars. So here I'm too focused on where he is, and well, I do a bit of a George Russell in Singapore. I clip the barrier. I don't go straight ahead, of course, as you can see. Go right off to the side. I don't really know what happened there. I know he didn't hit us, and luckily, because of the way the game works, when I hit the barrier, I think I was see-through or transparent, but essentially he went through me, so I didn't affect his race either. You can see here we're a little bit rocked by what just happened. We're all over the place here, back in P7, and now it's pretty much a game of catch-up. We need to get our head back in the game, as I do realistically think that still a podium finish is possible here. We do have the pace. We're right up there with the leader pace-wise, and the rest of the field were about on average about a second slower than us, so give it a few laps. I think we'll make our way back up. It's just how efficient I can be in passing those ahead of me. So coming on to lap 4, great exit, or great entry I suppose, into T1. Take the car on the inside here, a little bit of squeeze, tiny little bit of contact, but nothing major. contact physics are slightly weird in this game. Depends how you hit the cars. But the only way I can describe it is they tend to glue together, a little bit sticky. It's very hard to actually get away from the car once you start to make contact with them. So we were lucky there, I think, because we just brushed against them. There was no stickiness there and didn't really affect us coming into the next corner. But that's just something to note in Forza. The contact physics are a little bit weird, especially if you're coming into a slower, tight corner, and specifically with the AI as well. So this car ahead of us is all over the place, and 3 of them grouped together as well. Again, they're off the pace in comparison to us. I'm trying to keep my head down, just focus ahead and try to bridge that gap as quickly as I can. Towards the corkscrew here, we've caught up to the cars ahead. A little bit messy coming in here. We tried to actually take this guy on the outside, but no space. So we sit back, try to get the inside line here, which we do. Demon ahead, see if he gives us space. No, he doesn't. We sit back, see what happens. That's 1 position gained from this trio of cars. Try to keep the minimum speed through here. And looking into the final corner here, we actually do get a run. A little bit more aggressive with this overtake. We're heavy on the brakes, but of course we do take it. Nice clean maneuver. Guy gives us plenty of space. So thank you, Mr. Demon. Appreciate that. Run down to T1 here, focusing on P3 now ahead. So our goal of podium positions is in sight. So we have 1 more car to overtake to make that a reality. And considering what happened to us a few laps ago on this corner, that'll be a good result for us. Heading now towards the end of the penultimate lap. Last corner, right on the back of P3. This is going to be our podium position move. Stick it up the inside. We're not entirely sure here. I don't think he is either. So we're a little bit awkward through that last corner. I think we're both just trying to play it safe, not make contact, which is the way it should be, to be honest. But I should have been a little bit more aggressive or certain with my move there. So that was my bad. But fair play to Lackey. Keeps it clean. Now into T1. You can see here he goes off, but he doesn't go transparent, not like I did when I hit the wall down here. He actually bounces back onto the track and hits us really hard here, but luckily we're facing the right direction. We keep going. Now you can see here up to Hart in P2. Got 3 seconds of a gap here. So at this stage I'm thinking P3 is the best that I can do here, but that gap's coming in. So personally I think that he's ran out of fuel and he is coasting as much as he can to the finish line. So gap down almost a second there in 2 corners. You can see here he's just incredibly slow. He's gap down to 1.5 seconds. And we're thinking that we can take him before the line here. He's off on the grass. We're trying to be aggressive in last lap. He pushes us out wide, but then we actually get back on the accelerator, stick it to the inside. A little bit more aggressive, pushing him out, but to be honest, if he wants to be aggressive, push us to the outside, we're going to come back and do the very same thing. So we're always going to take it that way. That was P2. Great result considering the shit show we had on lap 3 or whatever it was, where we George Russelled the wall. So yeah, we enjoyed that one too. It's a good race, albeit a little bit different to get the result. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed the few races. I've been loving Forza since it came out, put quite a few hours into it already. So this is going to be my main racing game for the foreseeable future. Looking forward to racing some of you in some online lobbies. Let me know if you've got it yourself, if you're planning on getting it. And of course, before you go anywhere, if you haven't already, sub to the channel and like the video. Catch you next time.